Let's hit it.
We've been using single screen mobile devices for a long time, and we've been trained to use them. And we even our hands, right? Our thumbs have muscle memory. It's amazing. So when you think about taking like two screens together, and just the productivity possibilities become endless in some ways.
Hello and welcome to the Mega Byte for September 3rd, 2020. I'm your illimitable host, Brian Gavados, and, well, would you look at that? Today, we snagged a guest from the Surface team who's going to give us the lowdown, rundown, downtown, no-frown deets on, yeah, that's right, Surface Duo. So hey, are you on the fence? Not quite sure how a dual screen device will change your life or our customers' lives? Well, give a listen to the groovy Mr. Faizan Makhiawala and let's get to know this truly new, truly remarkable device. Here we go. Okay, here we are. We are here with Faizan Makhiawala, and I cannot believe we got you in here, Faizan. Thank you so much for your time. You are here today to talk about some new hotness on the Mega Byte. So, Faizan, thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate having the opportunity to even do this. This is actually really fun. It's a great part of my job that I enjoy quite a bit. So thank you for even letting me be on to join you.
I just want to do a quick correction. You may have been told that you were getting extra compensation for this, but that is just a bait and switch technique that we've been using, and we found it quite effective. So thanks for buying into that con.
I'm out of here.
So I'm not even sure I know what your formal title is. Would you mind just introducing who you are, what your role is, and how long you've been doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. So my formal official title is Senior Product Marketing Manager on the Surface marketing team. I've been doing this role, which I find really exciting and interesting, for about 3.5 years now. I've been at Microsoft for 13, which has gone so quickly. But the great thing about my role is I've had the chance of working across a lot of our portfolio at the same time. And so working through past products and then working my way to Surface Duo, where I lead all of our product marketing for this new amazing device.
Yeah, so that's why we're here today, because I've been doing trainings for Microsoft for about a decade. So I've seen different iterations of product lines come and go, software as well. But the importance of this conversation is that these new devices, when they're so new and so innovative, they really demand some extra contextualization from people who've been behind the curtain for a while and know sort of the struggles and the victories along the way throughout the development process. That is so helpful. I'm reminded, Faizan, of just Surface RT and Surface Pro 1 launch back when we were trying to explain to both our retail partners and to customers that this is more than just an entertainment device. It's not the tablet like you've been thinking about tablets. No, it really is the full version of Excel running on it. No, that really is a full laptop class keyboard. Like those kinds of things that I remember sort of belaboring on and on and on about. And I just wonder, from your perspective now with this amazing new product, what is your pitch? I mean, what is Surface Duo?
It's tough, because I will tell you, it's a lot of things to a lot of people. But the way I talk about the device is it's a device that's just purpose built. It's brand new. It's a new category. It kind of takes innovation in a new direction. It is a device that allows you to just be more productive. Life and work is something that's been smashed together more so right now in terms of the times that we're working through than any time we've ever said it in the past even, right? We're literally at a point where these things are super important. And I always like to tell people, and I'm sure you feel this way too, but there are just micro moments in the day between work and life that you need to do productive items. And that's not creating a PowerPoint. That's not always responding to an email, but it's just things like scheduling of life items, making sure you can, pick up your kids from somewhere because you've got time to, and being able to do those things. I call them micro moments because you find these moments in between all time. And then what it does is this device does, it allows you to take the best of Microsoft 365, the world of Android apps, and really get into a place where you can be collaborative, you can be communicative, you can be responsive in a way that allows you to blend in between your day that you just can't do as easily on almost any other device.
That's crazy. I was just talking with my uncle, who's a tech consultant in Southern California, just the other day, and he was telling me about a frustration he was having with one of his clients about receiving an inventory database. And the client said, I can't find, the column. What'd you say? And he's saying, it's on column, HJ in Excel, or go scroll over. You can find it. Here's the cell. And they're saying, yeah, I just can't scroll that far on my phone. And he's complaining to me that we are now in this age, as you so rightly point out, where some people are trying to run their entire business on a 6-inch screen. And that's just, that's crazy. And there's just this element of those little moments, like saying checking inventory on a spreadsheet you just got emailed right before you join your family for dinner. Do you want to be scrolling forever on a phone that is not purpose built, as you say, to handle these small moments of necessary productivity?
And it's a tough thing. I have my own personal examples where it was almost like an aha moment, right?
Yeah.
I will say this. You do have to untrain yourself on a couple of things. We've been using single screen mobile devices for a long time, and we've been trained to use them. We've even our hands, right? Our thumbs have muscle memory that you don't even think about because you're just so used to it. So when you get something new and amazing like this product is, you have to actually untrain yourself a little bit to then retrain yourself to learn. And it's just easy. When you commit yourself to doing it, it's amazing. So when you think about taking like 2 screens together, and just the productivity possibilities become endless in some ways. One of my aha moments, and I've got a bunch of them that I can talk about, but one of my aha moments was we were working late into the night, prepping for a number of announcements, and this is a real thing. My manager and I were just working through one of the slides, and we were using kind of the PowerPoint, however we were using, just to communicate. We left this like little communication box and comments kind of built in. The next morning, I think the mail was sent out late the night before. The next morning, when anyone was going to actually take a look at it, I realized that we actually had left the box in there and the comments. And then I said, oh, hold on. Normally, what I would be doing is I would go find my Surface laptop. I would go into that file, open it up, take it off, and then close it down and feel like, okay, I just made it happen. But in this scenario, I didn't. I stayed in bed because it was really early in the morning. I grabbed my Surface Duo off my nightstand, and I went into the Office Unified app, popped open that PowerPoint because it was right there, recent files that I had actually been used, even if it was being used on my laptop at the time and I was just accessing on the Duo this time, and got into it, deleted the comments in the box and saved it, and didn't even have to roll out of bed. Normally, I would have had to jump out of bed and go grab my device, right? Since I don't sleep with my Surface laptop, that would be awkward and strange. But this was just, it just gave me one of those moments that I was like, yeah, of course you can be productive on this device for those things that allow you to be in even these small items like I was just talking about. But I could do it, and no one knew any wiser that I had the opportunity to make that change.
Yeah, that really does, again, remind me of back when the Surface family was first introduced, and just the different habits that people are locked into about using a PC, going to the desk and sitting down and doing the things that you must do there. And I think you're right. It's going to take some real advanced storytelling, or some real compelling storytelling and demos and customer engagements to translate that story you just told into whatever lifestyle a customer, someone may be dealing with at any point. Because that is reality. That is you not being taken out of your moment, out of your life. Stay present with a device that can do more, that can be where you are.
Yeah, I think about it as I know a number of times when I'm sitting down for dinner and we've got a lot of things going on, because you can imagine the launch is just so exciting. There's lots of questions. There's things that people want to know about. But it's really nice to be able to really easily answer these things using productivity apps quickly, and then be able to close it up even and feel present in what I'm doing and with my family. And it's just, it feels good to close the device, but it also gives me an ability to stay in the moment like you were talking about.
As you think about the key specifications of the hardware, I know you probably can't get into everything in terms of the software side at this point, but in terms of the design, the hardware, the key elements, what does someone who is preparing to sell this device, what do they need to know about Surface Duo?
There's a couple of things. One, the first thing that I'll talk about is the fact that it's just a new category. It's basically where innovation is going, where mobile devices are going to be going in the future. You see that with other OEMs and other manufacturers make devices that are going in this direction. It's obviously getting a lot of press and news, and it's a hot new thing. That's one. But the idea was behind the category was that we're trying to meet people where they are. Where they're working, where they want to be productive, where they want life and work to come together and make some ability to do all the things on this one device. And so that's where it kind of the category actually shines. Basically having customers get the jobs or expectations done on a device today that they just couldn't do before, right? We talk about a lot of times folks struggle to stay productive on a single screen device. You talked about the scrolling earlier. You have a long Excel that might not be formatted for that screen in that way. But we also know that whole idea of the fact that two screens increase productivity, right? When you're working at home or in your at-home desks or wherever that might be, you might actually have more than one screen because that productivity level increases and that there's data behind that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's a pretty sound psychological principle by now, isn't it? I mean, I know personally, you can't argue it with me. I mean, if I'm referencing a document or a website while composing an email, of course, I'm going to want them side by side. And it changes. I guarantee it changes what the actual content is that I will end up creating because I'm able to see things clearly with my limited human brain, but I'm able to see it clearly next to each other side by side.
Exactly. And what if you could bring that to something that actually fits in your pocket?
Well, that sounds like a kind of device I'd love to get.
So what's amazing is that we kind of think, even when you think about category creation, we've done this before, right? We've been on a journey on the Surface side when we started talking about Surface Pro for the first time. And back then it was about, could you actually take a tablet and a laptop and could you make a tablet more performant? Could you actually get the work done back then? And it feels like a lifetime ago that tablet use was just not the same. People did not use tablets in that way. And then we brought around the Surface Pro, we threw on a type cover, and now you don't even think about whether you're using a tablet or a laptop. It is just seamless to you. We think about this device in the same way, and it's about that hardware and that software coming together. So we talked about some of those experiences that bring the hardware and software elements together. You know, a lot of the experiences that are unknown, that Surface is known for, come through on this new awesome device. Mm-hmm. But we obsessed about all of it. But what I would always talk about is, even with all of those things, which are just new category, amazing innovation, the device itself is 4.8 millimeters thin. And so if you get your chance to look at it a little bit or get on the website or look at the reviewers that are taking a hands-on approach, you're going to see how thin that device is. And what I usually like to focus on is the fact of how thin it is around the USB-C port, because that really brings home the fact that there's very little space between that USB-C port and the top of that screen. It's amazing. And I call it engineering magic because there's no other way to describe it. But that's only a little part of the whole story. When you think about the fact that you have two 5.6-inch screens that unfold or open to an 8.1-inch screen in terms of total real estate, even with the hinge in the middle, and then you take that, you think about all the software experiences we kind of hinted on that use both enhanced apps that go across both screens and use each screen intelligently. So you think about things like Outlook, where you can have the inbox on one side and then you can select an email and it comes up on the right-hand side, which is amazing in itself. You can do that same thing with the calendar portion of Outlook. You can do that with OneNote, where you have your pages and sections on one side and the actual notes on the other side, and then you can start inking. You can do things like that with Acrobat Reader, where you could be, let's say you're buying a house and you need to sign that contract. So as soon as you get that contract signed, you get that house. Really, and that's an exciting time. You could do that on this device. But we have other apps, even third-party Spotify. We've got a couple of things there from an enhanced standpoint. You've got options in the way of Mylio, which is actually a photo editing software where they've done some really creative things, being able to see the actual photo you're adjusting full screen on one side, being able to make the adjustments on the other side. There's amazing work that's happening. It's growing as time has gone on. With the announcement, with the work that we did back in October, there are more and more third parties coming to the table wanting to do more things to provide a completely different experience to their customers that they've never seen before.
It's so exciting.
So other item that you'll feel when you touch the device, when a customer gets hands-on, is that 360-degree hinge. That 360-degree hinge, what the engineers have done there, or even a funnier way of saying it, the hingineers, they're going to make it work, that actually work on it. You can feel the crispness of any of the modes in which you want to use the device come to life because of this hinge. It's not floppy. It feels robust. It gives you the exact positioning, the exact angle, the way that you want to do it. And just to nerd out a little bit, there are 56 different cables inside of that hinge that allow for the two screens to be able to interact with each other. Each of those cables are thinner than a human hair.
What on earth are you even talking about?
I would recommend, we did the press event, and it went off really well. It was something that we actually put on YouTube. And so folks that get time, take a look at that press event, because our engineers, the magic that they bring to the table, of course, have talked about a good amount of that. They also go into depth about the screen itself. So it's really interesting what this product brings to the market that you just will not find in virtually anything else.
To make sure that everyone is on the same level of just the fundamentals. So this is running Android. All the biggest Android apps, the Google Play Store and everything, those will run on this device, correct?
Correct. They will run really well. Obviously, some of those apps have been enhanced for two screens. Some are fantastic single screen apps that work on one screen. And then there's always an opportunity to span some of those apps and turn the device into compose mode, where you have both screens kind of landscape and get a really rich experience that way, kind of scrolling across 8.1 inches of screen. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use even apps ready to go out of the Google Play Store on this device and still have a fantastic experience.
So I think everyone's pretty clear once you do initial research on what Surface Duo is, it seems clear that business professionals are certainly going to get a lot out of that. But when thinking about, again, those who are going to be selling to all different kinds of customer types, I don't want everyone to be under the impression that because someone is not a certain kind of business professional that they might not be excited by what Surface Duo can do for them. So as it's been developed, what are some of the customer profiles that your team has had in mind for the different use case scenarios of this device?
Yeah, this is a great question. What we typically talk about is kind of, even outside of just professional use cases, because there's tons of them. We kind of talk about the device being where work and home meet, and where those individuals might actually be interested. Again, productivity comes in a number of different ways. It's not always about your work life. It's about your life. And we talk about these individuals as kind of, we obviously want to make sure it's clear that premium Android using individuals. And we talk about the highly mobile driven professionals. We talk about folks that are really tech oriented, folks that are early adopters of innovative technology. We know that there's obviously a cross section of folks that are Microsoft fans. They might be Surface fans. They might be using a number of services. It could be Xbox services. It could be Microsoft 365 or Office services. They could even be using Windows. And then the real folks that I think actually will love this and this device will just do the things that they need are those folks that are just devoted multitaskers. And what they're looking for is a device that allows them to do everything. What they're doing right now, they're hacking their way through work and life using a single screen device. Instead, what they want is a device that allows them to do all those things. Again, I'll go back to it. They're just pure devoted multitaskers. I mean, I think about one of the quotes from a customer that really resonated with me, which was they were basically between my office, the coffee shop, the hallway, Ubers, the kids' sporting events. They are all over the place, constantly tackling tiny tasks or other things that they just have to do. And that's where I think this device just really kind of hones in, allows them to do those things with ease that they just could not do unless they went and grabbed something that's a much larger device or a Windows 10 PC or something like that.
So there are other devices in the wild from different manufacturers that have some form of either bendable, foldable, or dual screen. Sometimes it seems like it's an accessory to a device. Sometimes it seems like it's built into how the device is meant to work. But each of them, I think, represents new use cases or at least attempts at new use cases that are trying to persuade customers into using it. So what are the primary form factors or the primary modes of Surface Duo? Like we talk about with Surface Pro and Surface Book, the different modes and the different use cases for those for other kinds of professionals. What does that conversation look like for Duo?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. We talked about kind of the magic that's gone into the revolutionary 360-degree hinge. That hinge gives you the one device that gives you multiple postures. And there's a number of ways that we talk about the modes. When you open up the device, you basically end up holding it like a book. And so we talk about it as book mode. It's a place where you can view apps side by side. You can span an enhanced app to be across dual screens, or you can even pick up Kindle, span it, and just read a book in book mode. You can also just think about when you can take notes. So you can put yourself in compose mode, and you can get 8.1 inches of screen across the two screens, which you can actually look at photos in OneDrive or other places. You can take notes. You can put an email or a text message on one side, and you can easily have a full screen keyboard that you type on the other screen. Then you think about things like being able to go into single screen mode, which is where you would easily be able to fold back the phone and pick up a phone call. Or again, by preference, if you want to use a single screen just for the thing that you're doing and you think that's the easiest way to do it, you can easily just use a single screen in both either portrait or landscape. We love the fact that you have tent mode as well. So being able to lean back and watch, let's say, your favorite HBO Go show, Game of Thrones maybe a little bit. Those things can happen really nicely, but you can also take conference calls in a really amazing way because you have a front-facing camera that also, can be flipped around and used in a different. And then, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I look at my single screen device or phone today just to see what time it is or what day of the week it is or what the date is anymore. And you can easily do that with peak mode. So even though there's not a screen on the outside, you can actually just open up the device ever so slightly, take a quick look if you'd like to, and close it up again if you want.
I think it's a ubiquitous experience now that we all have, where you see your phone glow off in the corner of your desk or even sometimes through your pocket, and you know that something wants my attention. So I'm going to pull it out and see what it is and see if it's worth my attention. I'm curious, what's the notifications story for Duo, since it's a device that is so fundamentally different, since it can be closed?
I was just talking about single screen mode. And so a lot of us are just used to, like you were saying, putting your single screen mobile device on a tabletop or somewhere else and feeling either a vibration or seeing the screen light up in some way. And you've got a notification. That we've just been trained to know that and understand it when it comes to phones these days. What you can do with the Surface Duo is you can just fold the one screen back, use it in single screen mode, put it on a tabletop. It's got Gorilla Glass, so there's protection there. And the device will just act in the same way that you know. So there's familiarity in the way that you think about how to use an Android-based device. Your notifications will show up. You'll see what you can do. You can interact with them, open up whatever that notification is. It's just an easy thing for those that might feel like they're not connected when you don't have a screen on the outside. It's all solved for you.
Interesting. Yeah, that familiarity story is so important. Say, yes, the Duo can do so much more than your current mobile device because of how the screen's laid out and because of how it makes use of apps. But you don't need to be scared of it either, because it can still operate and function in a way that you're going to find very comfortable and familiar. Okay, Faizan, a lot of new, fascinating, and important information about this new and fascinating and important device. So thank you for being so generous with your time today. And frankly, for talking about something that's so fresh and new, that's really important for us on the training team to be able to cascade this out as early as possible so that everyone in the field is ready and armed with all the right knowledge. And I'm curious, if you were to be able to just directly have that message with everyone on the front line, everyone working in store or coaching and selling in some fashion, what do they need to know for being able to accurately and persuasively pitch Surface Duo to their customers starting, day one when it's released?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's so many amazing things to talk about when you think about Surface Duo.
Right. Where to begin?
I'll try to keep it as simple as I possibly can, which is a tough thing when you ask somebody in marketing. And so here's what I think about it. Surface Duo is just entirely new. There's absolutely a new way to get things done. And it's designed for the person looking to do more on their mobile device wherever they are, with the ability to use two screens coming together. The productivity possibilities are just endless. It lights up when you combine your favorite Microsoft 365 apps together with those apps that are already in the Google Play Store. You can look at your Outlook calendar while you're on Teams calls. You can watch a video without missing a text message. You can read and take notes like we talked about with Kindle and OneNote. You can compare two items side by side when you're shopping online with two instances of Edge running at the same time. You can create your own custom app groups that suit your interests. Launch those apps at the same time, full screen. All of that comes together, both because of the technology packed in to this extremely easy to use, foldable device that can fit in your pocket wherever you go.
That works for me. A lot of strong, important elements in that I think can be broken down into meaningful chapters and chunks that can relate to almost any customer. So that's perfect. Faizan Makhiawala, this was a real treat. I really mean that. This was really, really fun. And I can't wait to get this out, distributed so that people can listen and really embrace what this new device really can represent for their customers and for themselves. I think it's safe to say that Surface continues to be the best of Microsoft, as we're used to saying. And I think the pitch that you just laid out perfectly encapsulates that. So on behalf of myself and the training team and everyone in the field, thanks for being so generous with your time.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
This has been the Microsoft Mega Byte podcast, a training tool for Microsoft field team members and sales professionals across the country, produced by Microsoft employees.